Okay, so it's December 16th today. I have a lot of seasonal grocery items in stock. Think peppermint, eggnog, pumpkin, things of that nature. And basically what I need to determine is if these products I need to start offloading and lower my price, or if I hang on, will they continue to sell after the holiday season and at a decent price or even better price that I'm comfortable waiting it out a little bit. So this is a real life example. I'm literally doing this today and I thought it would be valuable to share this. I'm gonna walk you through basically my 4-step process here in a minute. So first things first, I'm Jonathan. This is Duke Does Amazon, my Amazon selling channel. I've been doing primarily retail arbitrage, getting more into online arbitrage for about 18, 19 months now. I feel like I'm talking about a child instead of like breaking it down into year terms, but for a while now, and it's really changed my life. And I'm just sharing everything I've learned and continue to learn. So here's what we do, right? So I really am faced with this. I haven't gone through so many seasons, but I'm gonna tell you through how I'm gonna make decisions on this. And before I do, let's just talk about mindset for a second. Just because it's a seasonal item doesn't mean that people don't enjoy peppermint or eggnog into January or February or March, or at least that's my mindset. Each product is different, every year is different, but I just know that it's not automatic because Christmas is coming. This isn't like a toy, this is a grocery item. So let's dive into those a little bit further. So the first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go into Amazon Seller Central. I'm gonna click on Inventory, Manage Inventory, and then all of your inventory appears. Then you can filter it so that the products that come to the top are the ones you have the most of. So this way, if I'm sitting on something that has 50 items in stock, it's way more important that I give that attention than something has 2, right? So that's my train of thought at least. Now I'm going to look specifically for my seasonal grocery items that I'm referring to, okay? So while I'm there too, I'm gonna dive deeper into that product in in Seller Central, and just to get an idea, what is my current price that I have it listed at, and how many of these items have I sold in the last week, 30 days, 90 days, etc. Okay? So once I have that, I'm gonna take the item. For me, I'm going to go into Inventory Lab. So that's step 2. You could stay in Amazon Seller Central. I use Inventory Lab. I like the interface. So I take it there and I want to see what the current buy box price is. So that's what I do there just to help paint a picture. Also lets me get a snapshot of how many other competitive sellers there are, although it's not a perfect snapshot for that sake. We're going to dive into that. So there I am in Inventory Lab, helping to just further paint the picture. Again, what it's selling for, current buy box price, how much competition does it look like there is at first glance. Now I'm going to go into Keepa, step 3. And in Keepa, I'm gonna do several things, and this is really where I make my decision. I'm not gonna dive too much into do all these steps, but just know that you can do them all in Keepa, okay? So while I'm in Keepa, the first thing that I'm gonna look at is the number of sellers that there are today and what the trend has been, meaning that holiday items, probably the peak, the most amount of supply and the most amount of sellers is gonna be like early to mid-November. And then in theory, it would slowly decrease as supply gets less and less and they sell out. So now it would probably taper off this time of year. But further, that only paints the picture recently. I also want to go a year back to see what happens last year at this time of year. And so I'm gonna look at the amount of sellers, because that also kind of indicates the amount of supply that's typically available for this product the same time last year. Keep in mind 2021 is an anomaly, supply chain issues, so it's not gonna always be perfect, especially this year, but it helps paint the picture, all right? So I'm gonna look at how many sellers there are now and typically a year from now, or a year ago, I should say. I'm also gonna look at the current stock situation of all of these current sellers. And let me explain why I do that. If there's 5 sellers and they each have 2 items left, I may say, you know what, let them sell their product at a certain price, I'll let them sell out, and then I will command a higher price because the amount of sellers and supply has gone down. However, on the flip side, if somebody has 500 of this item and this item sells 100 times a month, then in theory, I'm gonna wait at least 5 months to start selling my items unless I come down to their price or a price lower. So you have to weigh the amount of competition and the amount of stock, right? And then lastly, what I'm gonna do is going back to the previous year as well, I'm going to see, is this product selling after the holidays, into January, into February, into March? And if so, at what price point? So a lot of these items sell very well a couple months after the holidays. So that's great. But does it come at a point that I'm not gonna make any money on them either? If that's the case, I might as well sell them now, keep it moving, or if I think that I can even charge a premium or get a good price, I might be willing to hold on. So every year is gonna be different, but basically I wanna know in Keepa, how much competition do I have? How much stock does the competition have? Does this product sell even after the holidays? And I can get all of that within Keepa, scanning out to within the last year or so. All right, so that's where my decision making is done. At this point in time, depending on what I've decided, I have to make sure that my repricer that I'm using is up to date. So if I say, you know what, it's time that I just drop my price, get rid of the product, or sell it at a discount, then that's what I'm gonna do. And I have to make sure that I do that and reflect that in my repricer. On the flip side, if I'm saying, hey, I'm gonna hold out, then I don't wanna lower my price in my repricer just for the sake of it, okay? Keep in mind too, don't ever get to a point that you just have these thoughts of, oh, holiday products, this is what should happen, or this is what happened last year. Every year is unique. Don't be stubborn. Waiting something out to get a price that you thought you were gonna get and now supply and demand has changed does nobody any good. Items sitting on the shelves does nobody any good. Now, I'm not saying if you can't get a good price for this because you've done the research in a month or so, good for you. But that's not always the case. So know when to hold them and when to fold them is I guess what I'm saying. Just don't be too proud to let something go. It's just part of the game. Keep it moving. So anyway, guys, that's how I'm gonna be making my decisions. I do this all throughout the year, not just seasonal items, but specifically today, that's how I'm going about it. So I wanted to share that. Again, I'm Jonathan, Duke Does Amazon. We're on Instagram. If you have any questions, put them below. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.